Welcome in, everybody. It's Tuesday. It is August 5th, and it was a doozy of a day for many reasons here in the Charlotte area in particular. Abnormally cool. We'll talk a lot about that, but we got to get to the biggest impact of the entire day here, and that was the flash flooding we had pretty much for the first half of the day. We had flood warnings for several counties, including Mecklenburg, parts of York County, and Stanley County. A lot of those warnings were set to expire at 4:15 to 4:45. But what happened was the water went down just as quickly. But this is a picture and video of some of the flooding that we had today. We had 4 to 5 inches of rain in about a 6-hour time period. Really kind of kicked off at 6 a.m. this morning and ramped up rapidly. And by mid to late morning, we knew we were starting to have some issues because a lot of the creeks and streams, we have a very good monitoring system here in Mecklenburg County. The creeks started getting to bank full, in fact, flooding. We had, I think, one creek did crest at a record that was down in South Carolina. It was near a record down in the York County area. Several others got close, but we certainly had a lot of road flooding. Not a lot of structures, thank goodness. But as you see here, the greenways, which they're supposed to flood, some of them got out of their banks and got onto roads, and people got stuck. And we saw a lot of vehicles that were trapped in water, and a few rescues, though it didn't seem to be widespread. It just seemed to be isolated in nature, where we saw some of those rescues. But let's talk about some of the rainfall that fell. We'll go to the radar here and show you things have calmed down. We still have light rain out there. I do not anticipate any flooding issues this evening and really for most of tonight, but I am a little wary of a little disturbance that looks like it's trying to move north from areas down in Georgia and South Carolina. I'll widen this out. This is a water vapor loop. I haven't shown the water vapor in a while because just haven't had a lot to show, but this little cluster of storms down in here, there's a little disturbance which looks like it's going to push north tonight. And with the amount of moisture we have in place, precipitable water, you hear us talk a lot about that, and the fact that we had an area saturated with rain today, I am a little concerned we could see some isolated flooding risk. So notice for the next several hours, really through about 2, 3 in the morning, no issues at all. But once again, almost the same time frame, 5, 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, we could see another wave of scattered showers and downpours. And if we see any thunderstorms in there, which would enhance our rainfall amounts, then we could see some issues. And just to give you an idea, tonight we'll be in the 60s, 70% chance of rain. Tomorrow, only low 70s, so definitely a cool day, just not as cool as we saw today. And this was the flood risk today. We actually got upgraded overnight, which was kind of one of those things that snuck up on us. We knew we'd see rain today. If you told me we were going to see 2 to 3 inches of rain over the entire day, it's kind of what I expected, right? That's kind of what we told you yesterday. But what happened was we got 4 to 5 inches of rain in an area that happened in about half that time. So that caused flooding issues. And it was a very narrow corridor. I want to go back to the radar here, and I'll show you the area we're talking about from York County up into Mecklenburg County. And this doesn't even do justice to it because there was a lot more rain in there than even shown here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer to Mecklenburg County. These are rainfall estimates. So just to give you a little peel back the curtain here, the radar can estimate rainfall, but sometimes it's not super accurate depending on the radar. The radar has huge limitations. It doesn't see all things. And so some of the totals were actually lower than the gauges. The gauges actually are a much better sign. And you could see the totals here. That Rock Hill total, 4.33. That is a one-day record for them, the most they've seen in a single calendar day. 2.5 inches for Charlotte. We've seen some big rainfall days. That's pretty big. But I was actually kind of shocked. That's our biggest of the year so far. I would have thought we would have had a thunderstorm at some point this summer, early in the spring, that dumped more rain than that. But that's our biggest calendar day rainfall. Monroe, 2.9, Gastonia, 2.34, and Albemarle. That was kind of the corridor of rain. And here were some individual totals that were picked from the FINS gauges, which is Stormwater Services. Lily, our intern, you guys know her. She helped compile this list for us. And 5.13 in Collinswood Elementary School, Uptown around 4.4, Camp Thunderbird down near Lake Wiley. So you're looking at 4 or 5 inch amounts. Freedom Park, which was shut down because of flooding, Lake Wiley, McAlpine Creek, Matthews Elementary School, Hidden Valley, Irwin Creek, Thompson Road, 4.69, Old Providence. So these are pretty beefy totals, and it says 24 hours because that's technically what they are, but a lot of that fell in about a 6 to 7 hour time frame early this morning. And so because those areas already got 4 to 5 inches of rain, within 24 hours of this, if we see another round of heavy rain, we could see additional flooding. So Weather Prediction Center has kind of upgraded our area again to a medium risk, and I think it's around Charlotte East. So I don't think it'll be the exact same spot. I think this could end up being more our eastern counties, but it's close enough that I want to stay alert for tomorrow just in case, because it may take a third of the rain to cause additional flooding because of how saturated everything is. So tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. to 1 p.m., kind of the time frame I'm watching. Flood threat, heavy downpours, isolated in nature, just like today. Trust me, this will not be everybody getting flooding. Today was incredibly isolated. Even within Mecklenburg County, there were areas that had almost no issues, but then other areas that some of the worst flooding they'd ever seen. So just kind of shows you the isolated nature of this. So stay tuned for our updates. Good idea to have our app and watch our show here. So our Futurecast shows the light showers this evening. Again, no issues tonight until about 2 a.m. You start to notice almost kind of some pop-up storms developing in there, and that would be the concern. Not that we would see a big shield of rain again like we did this morning. If we get what we call convection, which is our technical term for thunderstorms, that would mean very heavy rainfall rates, which could end up falling over this corridor of I-77, and that would produce heavy rain. But notice it moves out fairly quickly tomorrow, and we start to dry out and actually see some much better weather for the afternoon, and possibly by Thursday the sun returns, which is something even my son said. He's like, he hasn't seen the sun forever. And that's been the weird thing about this setup the last couple of days. It's been incredibly cool. And speaking of that, let me show you the high and low temperature for the day first, because there's a lot of records here. So 69 was the high. The high temperature on August 5th was 69. The low was 65. That's not crazy. That's actually only 5 degrees below normal. The high, though, that's 21 degrees below normal. And why is that significant? Couple things. That's the coolest high temperature in the month of August, any date, since 2014, when it was 70 for a high. It's also for August 5th, which is today, the coolest high temperature ever recorded on August 5th in Charlotte. The previous record was 70, set way back in 1920. 1920, the last time. And oh, by the way, just fun stat. What do you guys think is the coolest high temperature we have ever seen in Charlotte in the month of August?
Coolest high temperature we've ever seen in 53.
Ooh, that's pretty low. I wouldn't have guessed that low. Lily? I think I told you, but you might.
I feel like I was honestly looking into this a little bit earlier. I think,
It's
what is
crazy.
it? Like 59?
It is 59.
Oh.
59. It's crazy. I would have never thought we had a day in the 50s. It had to be the last day of the month with like a really strong cold air wedge, or some other, because that's really chilly.
Do you remember what day it was?
It's like in the 1890s. It's like way back. So it was way back then as well. So, and I'm guessing it was at the end of the month, because that's usually when we get some of the first. If we're going to get an early season cold front, it's going to happen at the end, right before Labor Day. So yeah, that's it. Normally, I think I looked. There was only 24 days, or 24 years in history where we've had a high in the 60s or lower. So it's just kind of rare. So obviously rain is a big story this week. I'll quickly show you the 5-day rainfall forecast. Not much going on here locally, but when Tim comes on, we're going to talk about the potential of some tropical mischief maybe on the coast by the weekend. Our 7-day forecast, look at this, it's still below normal. Low 70s tomorrow. We do want you to stay alert for that potential for some flash flooding. And then big game on Friday, first preseason game for the Panthers. They're taking on the Cleveland Browns. A lot of hubbub about that. We'll have a lot of starters playing. Actually, it looks pretty nice there, maybe near 80 degrees with a few light showers. But, hey, the heat's coming back. We had this question yesterday. Are we done with the heat? Absolutely not. It is coming back next week. We'll be in the 90s. In fact, I was looking at the 8 to 14-day outlook, which we tend to look at sometimes to see long-term trends. And sure enough, I think most of the eastern half of the country has above normal temperatures coming back by the middle of the month. And mind you, our average high should start to trend down. So by then, I think it's 89. So we're going to see above normal temperatures. So we got a lot to talk about today. Cool days in August, flash flooding, tropical mischief. I think we'll have plenty to discuss. Tim is going to join me here in just a second.